All right, everybody. Good evening. I'm super excited because today will be our first live event of 2023. So, Happy New Year. We will be discussing about work life balance and especially in English. So, for those who are usually coming to these events, it's every Thursday evening. We are discussing about industrial automation, all topics related to that. And today we'll be having this discussion about, how you handle your work-life balance as an industry expert. So, as usual, this is the channel for all subject matter experts for the industry. I will try this evening to do it in English because it was a request from some of you. So I will put as much as I can into my English knowledge to make it comfortable for those who are like native English speakers. Please bear with us with the accent. I will try my best. But yeah, so it's a channel for the automation experts. We are discussing about how to innovate, how to modernize the industry. It's a space for meetings, so we are having those events every week with some shared expertise, with some industrial specialists. We are talking about technology sometime, and other times we are talking about more general topics like today, the work-life balance. So feel free to join me. I mean, in the discussion, you have the link to join the live event. It's a simple web app which will redirect you directly to the YouTube channel. So don't hesitate. And if you are connected and you want to say hello in the chat, you're welcome. As I told you, I chose to talk about this topic because it was a request from some of you. If you look in the community tab on my channel, you will see that I did a small poll to ask like what will be your goal in 2023, and many of you replied we would like to increase our language skills. So that's why I'm having this event, because I know many of the automation and engineers, we would like to have more language skills like either German or English or anything else. So that's the opportunity, and if you're fluent in English, please don't hesitate to join me. And the second reason why I decided to choose this topic is also because I noticed for many of us automation engineers or technicians, we always have this struggle about family life. Many of my colleagues are talking about that a lot. So I was saying to myself, maybe it would be a good topic to talk about. I know it's important for many of us. So yeah. So I'm sure a lot of you maybe are surprised to see me talking in English, but hey, you discover something new about me. There are a lot of us also who speak good English, so I'm sure many surprises are left to be discovered. And um, I do have a lot of things to discuss with you. So we will talk about work habits, about family life. We will talk also about the trends in the working environments. So let me know when you're ready. I'll wait a little bit until maybe some of you want to join us, either in the chat or live. But yeah, don't hesitate. And in the meantime, if you have topics that you would like to discuss or some questions related to our subject today, just put a comment and we will add it to the discussion. All right. Okay, so let's start. Again, Happy New Year to everyone. I saw some comments in the chat. Ossine, Yannick, Rachid, Florian. Happy New Year. So, first question to start with. I was thinking maybe we could start with that one. Hello, Juan. You have the link if you want to join us, by the way. First question: at what time should we start and end a day at work? What's your opinion? Just put it in the chat. At what time of the day should we start working, and at what time should we end? I know, like, it's not a like true or false question, because everyone has its own situation, and there is no like right or wrong answer. It's just to have an idea. So yeah, give it a try. What do you think about this question? At what time should we start and end the day at work? And I will put again the link to join the chat, the live talk, for those who just joined us right now. Okay, I saw also some of your comments. Okay, we will discuss it also. In my opinion, like starting the day at work or ending it, it really depends what you are doing. If you're working in a factory, normally you're supposed to follow like the factory shifts. So either you will work on the morning shift or afternoon shift, or sometimes if needed in the night shifts. But it's all a matter of what you're doing. So if you're in a factory, you need to follow the like factory schedule. But if you are doing like a workshop job, or office job, like programming a machine, testing it inside your warehouse, I think there shouldn't be any hour. That's my opinion, because I know some people prefer to work in the morning, other people prefer to work in the night or evening. So in my opinion, it should be like you guys have access to all your tools any time of the day. You can arrive and start your stuff, and if you need to leave, you just leave. But there shouldn't be any compulsory hour when when to start or end. So that was our first question, and seeing some of your questions in the chat, so maybe we can start discussing about those. I'm noting it down, one moment. Okay. Second question from Yannick, and I think it's a good one. How to handle children when you have a lot of stuff to do? And it's related to the picture you saw maybe for the live. It was a little bit difficult for some of us during the COVID period, and that's a good time to talk about this. How to handle children, or maybe how easy it is in general to raise a child when you are in the manufacturing field, right? It is it's really a good question, because generally, you see, the demographics of automation guys is in between, let's say, 25 years old and 40, 50 years old. So really the period when you usually have your children, right? So that means you have to handle with both, like your work and your family life, your children in particular. It's not always easy, but I would say, to answer your question, Yannick, it's all about how you decide to do it as a family. Like if you have a child, that means you're supposed to be two parents at least, or I mean, sometimes it's not the case, but usually you are two to raise that child, and it's all a matter of what you decide with that second person. I know some colleagues whose partner don't work or doesn't work. It helps sometimes, and I know some colleagues who have their partner working, and they try to handle it like with I don't know, a part-time job, or some family members coming to help. It's not always easy, but I would say it's possible. I mean, it shouldn't be a barrier if you want to if you want to both work and raise your child as you would like. It's possible. It's just a matter of having your limits. It's completely okay to say at work, guys, I have to go because I need to go take care of my children. I mean, it's normal. Some bosses will will tell you that you shouldn't have children unless you have like 40 years old. But I don't think it's the majority. But I heard sometimes some people talking about talking like this. Um, of course, I personally think it's wrong. But anyway, it shouldn't be a barrier, I think, and that was a good question. Thanks, Yannick. Um, Another topic. Let's see what we have. I know some of us started doing remote work during the pandemic, and I have one question: does remote work increase your productivity? You can hit a yes or no into the chat. Does it increase your productivity? So when I'm saying remote work, I'm talking about, some people doing their work either at home or in a place which is not like their regular working place. Maybe it's co-working or another place. But does it help you to be more productive? Some people have like time to spend in the transportation before getting to work. Other people have to even travel sometime and spend weeks abroad. So now with the remote working thing, it reduces this. I think it reduces the time into the commuting. It reduces the time of travel. More people are willing to hire part-time workers or full remote workers. So I think there is a question of productivity inside it. So what's your opinion? Tell it. Let me know into the chat. Are you more productive working remotely or not? Again, as industry specialist, of course, because on this channel we mostly focused on manufacturing experts. So I will let you add your comments and then I'll give you my opinion on that. Right. So what I think is, in my opinion, like my personal experience, working remotely is definitely more productive, and I will tell you why. When you are at work, first of all, like you will have a lot of like short stops in between your day, either a colleague asking you a question or some emergency to take care of, or some operational work to do, which has nothing to do with your first task in the morning when you arrived. So it's a lot of disturbances. And when I'm working remotely, I know from experience that I can focus more. Maybe it's not the case of everyone, but in my case, it's like this. I can focus more on what's really required for me to perform. And of course, if I have some operational work to do, like solving a technical problem on a machine, you have to be on site, and then it's a maintenance task to do on site. But if you are talking about development, conception, design, I think it's easier when you're remote working. It doesn't mean that you will not have like some interaction with your colleagues, because you can meet your colleagues even outside of work. It's not necessary to be in that fixed area to have this social relationship. And it doesn't necessarily mean that we will not go on site, because maybe you will have like 3 days working remotely just on the design tasks and 2 days working on operational tasks on the machines. But I like to have like both configurations. It helps me to be more productive. So your comments now, Yannick says it depends on the career of everyone. Of course, for a designer, it increases the productivity. Perfect. So that's what I was thinking also. Rashid says less productive working remote in my case. Sales need to be in front of application, customers, human being, of course. We're talking about sales, and yeah, it's important to have this presence. Hossein, at home I work on developing my skills. Perfect. So yeah, you have time for training. And Rashid again, with Zoom, Teams tools, you lose informations and feelings. Yes and no. I mean, it depends. If of course, if it's sales, again, it's a personal opinion, but if it's a sales job, yeah, it's completely different doing it remotely, and it adds a lot of hurdles. How to convince someone that your product is perfect when you are not in front of him, it's really difficult. But yeah, for some developers, we still prefer to start a meeting and finish it 30 minutes later with just the specific information to share and nothing else, no additional long-term meeting. So anyway, it depends how you react to those new environments, but I know it's different for everyone. Another topic, now that we have discussed about this, I was having a discussion on our Factory Automation Insider channel about holidays. So maybe I will trigger this discussion here again. And by the way, you can join that channel too. I will send you again the link so that if you guys are interested, you can join it. It's on Discord. We have nice discussions every week, and also on LinkedIn. So I'll put both. But the topic was what was your longest holiday since 2020? I'm saying 2020 because it's let's say average the start of the pandemic, and a lot of things changed. So what was your longest holiday since 2020? Was it 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month, or 3 months, 4 months, half a year, maybe a year off? I don't know. Take your bets. What was your longest holiday? And I think it's a good question to ask yourself, because sometimes you don't really look back in the past to see how we spent our previous months or years, or anyway. And since it's the beginning of the year, it's a good period to look back and see how was our day-to-day routine. And among that routine, there is this holiday thing. So as you're putting your example into the chat, I will share my experience. In my case, the longest holiday was about 3 months, and it was in summer 2020. So from August to October, something like this. It was a period when I had to change location, new apartments, and it was a perfect opportunity also to take longer holidays. And to be honest, it was a nice period, because since I started working, basically, I didn't have that much holidays, and it was good to be off doing something else. Of course, it doesn't mean that all my days were lazy, but I was doing interesting things, but not related to automation, not related to the industry. And I think it helps sometimes to get disconnected, really, even from the social networks, from the internet, and spend some time with your loved ones, with your hobbies, just enjoy. So I know it seems a bit silly to say it like this, but Yeah, I'm sure many of us will share that opinion. So your longest holiday, not so many answers into the chat. 3 weeks for Rashid, nice. So let's see if you guys had other comments. It would be interesting to see. Another question, still related to the work-life balance. Let's see. Nice comment, Rashid. Thanks. Or maybe we can, I mean, you can take that 3 months to start a barrel business. Anyway, another topic. So sometimes I meet people. Okay, let me rephrase it. I will just add that in English. I added the French part. Right. I met some people who told me when they're at work, their personal problem emerge, and when they're at home, their working problem emerge. And it's always like this. Like when they're at work, they'll be thinking about, they have to buy this thing for their home, or they will have to go there with their children. And in the opposite, when they're at home, they will think about, I have this machine to finish programming, or I have to meet that client, or that supplier to get my parts delivered. So it's something like it's like reversed. Their mind seems to be reversed when they're at home and when they're at work. And that was an interesting discussion. So we asked ourselves, should professional life and personal life be intertwined? Meaning, should it be mixed, or should we keep it separate? And I would like to, trigger that question. Of course, you don't necessarily need to write it into the chat, but ask yourself, like, do I really put a really strict barrier between life at home and life at work, or do I consider it as a common thing which is like completely mixed? Because those are two different styles of life. And of course, if you have some colleagues working like daily with you, you better know what's their lifestyle about this question before you get into some strange questions like why are you talking about this at work, or why are you talking about this at home? So I think it's good to know, at least for yourself and for your colleagues, what they think about this question. Should you mix your personal life and professional life? Yeah. Comment from Juan. I feel it's good to have boundaries to keep both under control. Yeah. And Rashid. Lot of my today's friends are former colleagues. Nice. Again, Juan, but you can't really totally separate them. Of course. Well, as I said, there's no good or right position. It's just, a question to ask ourselves. For many of us, yeah, we meet friends at work, so they eventually become even like some of the people we meet even during the holidays. For some types of person, we prefer to, don't have them in our personal life, so we just stay colleagues in the formal way, and after work we are happy to get rid of them in a sense. So it's also good, like as Juan said, to also had some boundaries, at least some of them, with especially when we are handling with difficult people, and we don't want them to impact our own balance. So it's good to it's also good to have boundaries, but both are both make sense, both are possible. So it's just to ask ourselves this question. And since you guys are quite active into the chat, there is this question for you. I don't know if many of you are, working for their own or working as a freelancer, created their own company, or thinking about doing it. But in my case, it's like this. I'm working as a freelancer, automation engineer, providing services for SCADA programming for industries. And I have this question always: is work-life balance easier when you are freelance or not? And I would like to have your idea, your opinion about this. Is it easier to have a balance when you are working alone, or at least when you are working for your own? You don't have any organization to report to. Um, you are your own boss to in some way. Is it easier to have a balance? I'm sure there are some freelance like listening at us. Maybe they don't show up, but ask yourself: is your work-life balance easier since you have been on your own, or has it been more difficult? And in the meantime, I will continue to read the comments. So Rashid says, from a lot of professional experience, there is a lot of marriage in the same company. And that's true. That's true. Many people meet at work. I mean, after school, that's the second place where people meet and get married. So that makes sense to stay open, and especially for people um, who are still single, to say it like this. Sometimes you never know when love will happen. So another comment from Yannick: sometimes it's better to keep your daily routine separate to work. Of course, that's what we said. And yeah, so has your life been easier since you're a freelancer? Let's see. In my case, so I've started doing my own consultancy services since 2020. So it's been 2 years, a little bit more now. And during those 2 years, it depends. I can't really say it was easier, because you have all that additional stress related to how to find clients, how to run your business, um, all those things that I didn't have to think when I was just an employee. So it adds more stress, but there was definitely something new about how you handle your day. I was no longer part of a formal team at work. So now, if I'm joining a client for a project, of course I will have some team members into that project, but there is no commitment of when you arrive at work, when you should deliver your daily or weekly task. It's just a matter of what you have to do. Of course, there is a delivery date, like overall for the overall project, but you will not be like monitored day by day as in the corporate environment. And in the same time, when I'm saying this, I know a lot of nice corporate environment when you have a lot of freedom to organize your day as you want. So I wouldn't say either yes or no to that question. It's neither easier nor harder to have a work-life balance when you are a freelancer. It's just a different style. I would say it like this: a different way of, um, thinking about your working days, a different approach also to working in general. Like, what do you consider working to be? Is it, providing your skills to a company? Is it accomplishing something great that you have as a dream? I mean, there are different opinions and ideas about what is working. So I would say it's just a different way of, doing it. Right. Nice comment from Yannick again. Work as a freelancer is better than work in company, but sometimes it's difficult to join the two lines when you don't have a contract as a freelance. How can can you have another source of revenue? Of course, that's what I was saying. When you say like you're on your own, you need to find your own clients. Of course, like it's an additional stress. But I would say in the field of industry and automation, it's not so hard, like compared to other sectors, like like for instance marketing or things like that, where they are really crowded. In the industrial environment, we are quite few, so there's a lot of room for everyone to get business, to get some share of the cake, as we say. So, yeah. One question from Rashid: burnout can touch freelance, or is it only for a corporate disease? Ha, good question. What you guys think about this? Can burnout touch freelance, or is it only a corporate disease? Let's see. I'm trying to think about people I saw going on a burnout during my career. Of course, since I've been a freelance just for 2 years, I don't know many freelancers who are like burning out. But most of the person I saw, taking a leave for health reason, it was in the corporate environment. I even met like one HR manager of the factory who like never seemed to be like in a trouble, but like eventually one day he didn't show up, and he never showed up since since that period. So it was a bit strange for us, because it was really a nice guy, like with a strong moral health, or at least it seems to be like this. It never really appear clearly if you are in a good balance or not, because like a lot of people hide their personal behavior when they're at work. So it was really hard to see it coming. But yeah, it was very hard for us to see him leave, because if we knew it, we would have done, like, I think, a lot to avoid it. But anyway, to come back to the question, does it touch the freelances? I think it can be also an issue for the freelance. For instance, some freelance, it's not my case, but I know some freelance who have, they put a lot of stress on themselves regarding the results, like how many money you make on a year, how many clients you have, how many projects you deliver, etc. Do you accept all the missions that are proposed to you? And they run into, they really run out of time. Like, it's impossible for them to get the time off. And I don't know if it's a good case doing like this for several months and years. Definitely you will run into a mental health issue. It's not maybe just a burnout, maybe it's something else, but I don't see it as a good balance. But again, it's just my opinion. Maybe everyone has its own way of doing it. But yeah, as you're saying, Rashid, bore out, which is another thing, is maybe less prominent among the freelancers. For those who don't know, burning out is like you did too much and you are completely like unbalanced, so you have to rest, and it can last for a long period of time. But bore out means you don't really find the meaning of what you're doing. If I'm not mistaken, that's the definition. So you come at work, you are completely bored, you don't want to do what you have to do, and it can be like this for several months. You don't do anything, you can it can come to a burnout, but bore out is like this. So for freelancing, I don't think it's an issue, because usually when people decide to start their own business, it's a personal choice. So it's supposed to be something you like, or at least you run into trouble. But if you like it, of course, you will not be bored. And I'm not bored at all, as you guys can see. So that's yeah, that's what I think. Bore out in French would mean désengagement, ennui, perte de sens. Exactly. Thanks, Rashid. All right. What else can we discuss? If you guys have other questions you would like to see addressed, just put them into the chat. I have another one for you. This one. You see, there are very few people who are able to work in the industrial field, especially in the industrial automation. That means the only person who are expert in the field have a lot to do. It adds a lot of workload. So the question is, does the lack of automation expert help you to get out of the workload? Like, how to? Of course, it will add workload. So how to get out of it? That's the question. And I was even discussing that with an automation engineer who is also a freelance, by the way. And he told me, I'm always busy, like no free time except in the weekend, of course. But like during the week, you can't even reach him. Like you just send messages, and if he's able, he will reply to you. But it was really hard for him to find spare time or free time. So I was wondering, like, is it because we are few of us who are able to program the machines that we have so many stuff to do, or is it related to something else? It's an open topic. Maybe some people will see it like as a replay. So if you guys see it after the live, I think it would be interesting to see your comments about that question. Is the workload related to the lack of expert, or because in any way, like if we can't do the work, I mean, it's not an obligation. The work will not be done, and that's it. Like you're not responsible of what you cannot do. So that's my opinion, first of all, to start with. And then if we consider it in this angle, the workload shouldn't drive your time schedule. It's strange to say it like this, because sometimes you will be like the only automation engineer in your factory, so every topic will fall on you, and you will be responsible of everything that doesn't go well. And at some point, like, you cannot do more than just 24 hours into a day, right? So it's a strange question for me. Anyway, let's see your comments. Did the average automation expert have massively increased? Have salary increase or massively increase? I think salary increase. That's what you are saying. Yeah, there is also that question of salary. We will come to it. But yeah, about the quantity of work, like how many machines we have to program, or how many factories we have to build in that new year 2023. Did we think about like who are the person who are going to build it, and are they enough person? Just to make sure that we will not give the work of 2 or 3 people to just one person. And of course it will run into issues if it's like this. And I think sometimes it's like this, and people don't have the audacity to say no. I mean, it's even sometimes for me, like sometimes I see a really interesting project. It's really hard to say no, but you have to say it. Like, I cannot do it, or it's not possible for me in that moment, or I decided to take some weeks off, so I will not be available, or I will not be able to travel that long. Again, it has changed a lot since remote work started, but automation engineers used to travel a lot. I don't know if it's your case, but in my case, during my first 3 years as an automation engineer, I traveled like more than ever in my life, in many countries, um, and always for interesting topics. Like, it was technologically speaking, it was really interesting. But again, was it something that helped me with my balance? I don't think so. So just to finish about that thing on workload, uh, it's not because you are the only expert that you have to accept everything. Period. I will finish it like this. And we come to the question of salary. And if I rephrase it, your question, Rashid, was, did the average automation expert salary has massively increased or not? And I think it was a question that was asked this week by Boubacar Mariou from Automation Sense. If he's here, it would be great. But anyway, he asked that question. How well are the automation engineers paid nowadays? And of course, it has to do with your work-life balance, because working is also for getting money, right? Like, we shouldn't be naive. Like, it's a way of, having enough money to pay your bills, to get food on the table. So salary is an important part of our work and also of our life. And yeah, if we keep paying the automation engineers as they are paid today, of course a lot of them will run out of that field. I get, so I'll tell you that story. From time to time, I used to discuss with some students on a platform which is called My Job Glasses. People who are currently into their engineering studies, and they will contact you, to ask questions about professional life and things. So uh, I often get that remark and that comment from those students. They tell me, how well are we paid when we work in factories? Because for them, it's like they will be exploited and they will be paid very few. Unfortunately, sometimes it's true, and I really think there is something to do with the salary. I'll not get into more details because it's really a topic in itself. There's a lot to talk about on the salary, but we really need some, salary review more frequently. Huh. Artificial intelligence trend in automation. Maybe it will reduce the workload. Maybe, and I hope so, because then we will give more work to the machines, and we will focus only on the interesting things. Um, in the end, that's the whole purpose of, artificial intelligence and automation. So why not? Why not? But in the meantime, yeah, let's try to learn to say no. Right. Are there other questions from you guys or other comments? Yeah, nice comment from Rashid. Again, about the salary. Maybe we will do a live event on that. Yeah, we will definitely do something like this. He says the reason why he evolved 20 years ago from automation position, meaning engineering, to sales position was the salary level, of course. I mean, if all the technicians were paid, I don't know, 200,000 a year, they will not think about, going to other fields. So yeah, it's a good question and good comment, Rashid, but I think I will dedicate one event to that. Maybe in French that time it will be easier for the others to get involved into the discussion. But salary is a good topic to talk about. I have one final question. If you guys don't have other things to discuss about, this question about family business. Is it a good idea in automation and manufacturing? I'm asking this because, again, I saw examples of this. People starting their business, working either with their, their friends, their cousins, their brother, I don't know, or their husband or wife, it depends. I put all of this into the family business thing, And is it a good idea in automation? Because the question behind it is, how will you be able to handle the 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 distinction between your personal life and your work life if you are spending your whole time with the same persons at work and at home? Is it something possible or not? Maybe some of you have some stories to tell about this, or friends or family that you know around you. Maybe who run their business as a family, and how does it work for them? Is it easier for them to get to have some balance? Is it harder? Um, how do they do it? Of course, I know it makes it difficult in English to get involved into the discussion, especially for those who maybe are not so fluent into English. But it was our challenge for today, so I will stick to it. um, is family business a good idea in automation? Let's see. Um, I'm trying to think about some examples of family businesses who turn to be quite successful today. I don't know if you guys know Ekium, that company who does automation services in France. If I'm not mistaken, it was started by two or three uh, students who were friends into during their engineering studies, and they decided to start it something right after the engineering school, and it turned out to be the big company that we all know now. So that was one example of a successful automation involvement as a family, to create the business. Of course, they are friends, but I can consider them as family now. Maybe after the years and decades, they run into, I don't know, personal discussions or issues. I don't know about that, but I guess if we looked just at the success of the company, it seems to have worked. So there's that example in France. There's another example, I would say, in the US. I don't know if you guys know Tim Wilburn, who is working with his wife. And they have been running their business since, I don't know, 2015 or something like this, and it's doing well. And eventually, it became even like a marketing aspect of their business, like showing themselves as husband and wife doing technical things for technicians, for industries. It became an attractive things for their clients. So also for them it was a good example. And other example are like brothers, like two brothers creating company together. Some examples Rashid mentioned in the chat. BNR, it was like this. Andres Heuser also. So yeah, I think it's quite something in the automation world to work as a family. And if we even consider like other fields outside of the automation environment, I would say that the most the longest company in terms of duration of life until then are all family businesses. You can take the example of Renault, Peugeot. You can have the example of Nestle. All of those big corporate companies which turned out to be quite successful now started as just family businesses. So I'm saying to myself, like, maybe like we should encourage more and more working as a family. I know in some places like India or Africa, it's even something which is, rooted into the social behaviors. Like if your father was, I don't know, a farmer, you will definitely work in the farming or agriculture industry. If your father was a lawyer, you will also be in the same law company, and it will help the company to strive and to get from generation after generation. So I think there is something to discuss about this, and the whole topic of that, coming back to a work-life balance, is those people who are working, who are running their business as a family. They don't have that question of work-life balance. I think because it's part of their day-to-day routine. Like if they have to spend, I don't know, 3 weeks in a row for holidays, it will not be a big discussion for them. They will just shut down the activity and go. If they have to take additional hours at work, even into the weekend, it will be a common agreement, and nobody will complain about, you are working, you're not supposed to be working the weekend, etc. So those things, I mean, it's not my case right now, but just I was thinking about that because I saw some examples of those, and I wanted to, just to discuss about this, to trigger a discussion or a reflection together about those examples. Right. Other comments. There are examples in France: Maf Roda, Automation Fruit Lines, Famille Blanc, great success story. Yeah. Geese also. Perfect. Yeah, definitely, it's a good thing to consider. All right, I think I ran out of questions. That was it. I didn't have anything else to discuss with you, unless you guys have some comments or questions. But it was already a good chat with you guys. I hope you liked it. This special start of the year in English. It was the challenge for today. Maybe it will help you, to like keep your language skill, train it, continue to, listen to different languages. It's always useful, especially when you're in a technical field, to get that exposure, to keep connected to, other environments, and to keep our minds open. Perfect. Thank you guys for being connected. Thank you to the guys who will look or watch it in replay after today. And I wish you a perfect weekend. Next time in Spanish, says Rashid. Why not? For me, it will be just English. It's already good. Perfect. Good evening, guys. See you.